Hello, I'm James Robinson, curator of the exhibition Treasures of Heaven, Saints, Relics and Devotion in Medieval Europe. We're including in the exhibition a lot of first-time loans to the UK. Please do come and enjoy this beautiful, beautiful exhibition.
That sacred content is the most important part. The relics, where they survive, are very often mundane pieces of small fragments of bone or a few strands of hair, ritually wrapped in very often exotic textiles as part of their enshrinement, and then placed inside these wonderful repositories. Now, the subject in some ways might be quite a brave one for us to choose as our main theme, because there is a certain sort of frisson of repulsion that people feel about the notion of body parts being used in this way, or fragments of bodies being used in this way. And what I would say is what we're trying to do is to sort of enter the medieval mind and try to explain how these things figured then. And that if we find the idea slightly distasteful, so did people in the Middle Ages. And there are lots of commentaries about how unpalatable it is to observe fragments of bone or rotting flesh, and that's why in this exhibition you'll be hard pressed to see a relic. I mean, really, things are, we've exposed relic bundles where we can, but you'll see that things are not actually made visible, and it wasn't the practice necessarily to look at the actual bit of bone or the hair, but it was to be in the presence of the saint. And it's about how these mundane artifacts are somehow imbued with the personality of that holy person, and that's really the essential impulse that's operating here. And the reliquaries make the whole process more palatable, they seduce the senses, they offer a kind of bridge between the terrestrial sphere and the celestial, and they're attempting really to make the devotee sort of transcend to another level. And it really is a very fine example of how art serves spirituality. And that's really the message that all of these objects in their own way send. And of course the materials are really key to this, because the precious materials have both symbolic and spiritual value in the Middle Ages. So gold is more than just the material that it is. It's also a reflection of the purity of the word of the Lord. It's a reflection of the incorruptibility of the saints. Ivory too is used in the same way. Ivory was thought to be imperishable, just like the flesh of the saints. So certain materials are considered to be extremely appropriate for the construction of reliquaries. This also includes rock crystals, and especially you'll see there's a small display devoted to the transparency that's offered in some reliquaries, and that's offered by the incorporation of Fatimid carved crystal flasks. So they're utilising also things from the Islamic world and from the pagan past. They're using recycled intaglios, cameos, and all of these things are actually given Christian significance when they're incorporated into these sorts of objects. So each object is very densely layered like this, and of course for the medieval imagination, all the clues are there for them to sort of interpret and unravel all of this, and for them to be taken to another realm. And it is, of course, a deeply contemplative age, and part of the remit of this exhibition is to dispel some of the popular notions of the Middle Ages of being barbaric, dark, dirty, dismal, wet, any sort of dismal kind of image you can imagine is really out there. When we do evaluation groups and say to people, what do the Middle Ages signify for you? It's usually mud, squalor, peasants, pigs, talk about the Renaissance and it's all sort of pavement cafes and cappuccinos, so it's, and what we're doing here is saying, well, actually, the medieval achievement is represented by these outstanding works, the most expensive portable commodity in the medieval world, that really employed outstanding smiths, outstanding skills of the goldsmith's art, and some of the finest treasures of the Middle Ages are in this room.